something I get a lot of commentary from guys about is how to shoot the shot, how to get a girl, and how to find a good one, and then how to shoot your shot effectively and how to get her, right? Like, this is something that you see on social media everywhere, and so let me help you. Let me help you out as like man to man. Like, there's some things that women can learn as well, I'm sure, from this, but this is specifically a man to man conversation. All right? And I'm gonna find it in a kind of an obscure place that maybe you've never heard of. And it's the Queen of Sheba, past the story from 2 Chronicles chapter 9, in which the Queen of Sheba in Africa comes to visit Solomon because she's heard rumors about how great his wisdom is. And so she tests him with hard questions. His wisdom outpaces her, blows her away. Literally, it says that she was left breathless by it. She's astounded. She's amazed. And that all the astonishing things that she sees in his wealth, his splendor, and all that God had given him, she gives glory to God on behalf of what he has shown her, right? I think there's some really key details that we can gather from this to help you get some game on and to seal the deal with a good, godly Christian woman, all right? So number one is you need to forsake the secular game. And so to back up the story a little bit, God came to Solomon and said, now that you're king, I'll give you whatever you want out of love, out of a demonstration of my steadfast love for David, your father. I'll give you whatever you want. And he says wisdom. Not wealth, not glory, not splendor, not names, not any of that. I want wisdom. And God grants him that wish. And so because, as well, it says, here, not only am I going to give you wisdom, but all the rest of the things that you didn't ask for. That when you start by pursuing God's wisdom, you will be amazed at how, like, it's not a mistake that so many of the Proverbs talk about how to handle money and how to handle relationships, how to handle conflict. When you pursue God's wisdom, you get a whole lot of extra stuff thrown in for free. So, you need to stop chasing the almighty dollar. You need to stop chasing convenience. You need to stop chasing laziness. You need to stop chasing the paths of least resistance. You need to pursue after God first. The second is that he had already built himself a house in honor of God, to consecrate himself to God and the nation to God. And so a lot of you are missing out because of the fact that you're waiting, hoping that if you get the woman, that she's going to help you build a house later. No, you need to set the foundations. You need to build the house now. In Genesis, it talks about how that a man will leave his father and mother, and together he will be cleaved to his wife, and then they will be one flesh. You have to be independent. If your cell phone is still being paid for by mom and dad, or just mom, there's a problem. If your parents are still paying for your gas or paying for your insurance, or if you don't even have a license, you have no business being concerned about how to get a woman. You need to figure some stuff out on your own first. And let me caveat with, I'm not on the side of that some of these, like the Dave Ramseys and the Clayton Kings, that you need to have $25,000 saved up, you need to have all your car paid off, I'm not on that side. You don't need to have all of your life figured out and together, but you do need to have a life, have a job, working responsibly, understanding, like doing your own laundry. Like, you need to have those things already so that she's not adopting a first child when she gets into a relationship with you, but that she's coming alongside a godly Christian man to lead her. All right? And that is probably the number one thing that's that you're stumbling over, because of the fact that you're waiting to get the woman and then you'll figure the rest of your life out later. No. Do not subject a woman to having to take care of you while at the same time having to take care of kids or whatever else. You need to figure that out first. The second thing is she doesn't even hear about him until the wisdom that he displayed had reached her from a distance, which means she would have been scoping from a distance before she ever even came up. And don't be afraid as well for the ladies. Don't be afraid to go up to a guy and ask, because that's how I got married. She came to me first. So don't be afraid to do that. Sheba came to him as well, to Solomon. But listen, the reputation of his remarkable wisdom was so renowned that it reached from Judea all the way down to Africa. So this doesn't mean you need to have a mass Twitter following or something, but it does mean that the people in your church, in your community, in your school, in your classes, need to know about you in terms of, that's a wise man. When I got stuff going on, I go to him, he helps me. If I got a couch to move, I call him. If I need counseling in my relationships, I call him. If I need fill in the blank, he's the one that's going to, if I'm broken down on the side of the road, calling him. 2 a.m, calling him. Like, if you're not a man that's known for that, you're not going to be of interest to a woman whatsoever. You're just not. You're just a child, a boy. It's important that your reputation of wisdom, especially God-honoring wisdom, and the life that you've already built, needs to reach her before you even open your mouth to speak to her. The splendor of God's glory radiating off of you, when I get super Pentecostal about this. The next thing is testing hard questions. Talking about, like, what do we talk about on a first date? Talk about real stuff. Now, obviously, you got to be careful about, like, politics and things, but talk about what God does in your life, where you've been, where, like, if you don't have a story worth telling, you're going to struggle here. That's one of the reasons why it's so important to have that wisdom and have that reputation, have that renown, have that already, so that you have stories worth telling a woman when the chips are down. If you're a boring dude that just sits in his mom's basement playing video games all day and talks about your gamer score, she's going to get really bored with you really fast. And she doesn't care about your pop collection, probably, as well. Like, simply, you need to have things worth saying. You need to have answers for questions. Life has a lot of questions attached to it. And if you have a safe environment in a first date where you can talk about some stuff, and if you know each other beforehand, like that you're not meeting each other cold turkey on the first date, talk about some stuff. Feel free to answer some of those hard questions in an honest way about doctrine, about theology. And listen, if you don't have answers for questions like that, open a book. Crack a book, start reading. And even if you start off in the wrong place at first, you can talk about your journey of how you developed your theology, your philosophy, your psychology, whatever. It's not a mistake that women are outpacing men in those graduate or college entry and graduations. They are, honestly, there's a bunch of dumb dudes and a bunch of really smart girls that are bored with those dumb dudes. Study to show yourself approved, a workman that need not be ashamed, is found in 2 Timothy. Like, this is clearly in, and it gets to the point where, like, she tries to stump him and he's not having it. He's got answers. And I think that you don't necessarily have to, like, what is the meaning of life? Like, but you should have something to contribute to a real conversation beyond where you think the MCU is going in phase 4. Like, you should have some stuff worth contributing to a meaningful conversation. And I think, like, if you follow those steps, number 1, pursue God and his wisdom before anything else, over materialism, over sex, over whatever. Number 2 is build a life independently that you can invite a woman into that would be attractive, that she could see herself fitting into. Number 3, have a reputation for wisdom that precedes you into the conversation of shooting your shot. Number 3, shoot the shot. Like, don't be a coward. And women as well, don't be afraid to shoot your shot with a dude. Like, don't be afraid to. And lastly, you need to have meaningful things to contribute to a conversation of varying levels, from shallow small talk all the way to deep theological, philosophical hurts, hang-ups. You need to have all of that so that you can amaze a woman, take a woman's breath away. Right? You follow those 5 steps, you'll have a lot more success in relationships than you are right now.